Alrighty, so we got our Chapter 10 projects here, so I decided to do two easy projects. We've got the Facial Expressions app and the Improve Your Golf Stroke app. So let's go ahead and take a look at these. So the first thing to note on this is the strings XML file. Right here I've got my app name, image description for the image view control, and the start button, which just says see the actor. And that is going to start the frame animation. Alright, so we jump over here into activity main.xml, and we're looking at the XML code. It's a relative layout. Now what we have a button control, and we display an image view control, which is told to display below this start button here. And it's pretty nice. It's got like some different properties here for it. About all there's to say about that. Let's switch over so we can look at it in the design tab. This is what it'll end up looking like. It's a pretty nice layout. It's actually a lot easier to build layouts with XML. Once I finally got the hang of it, it makes more sense than the whole drag and drop kind of WYSIWYG editor there. Should get a little aggravating sometimes. The what do they call those lines where you lay them out? But anyways, let's see. This is the animation list. Well, actually, this is animation.xml. It's in our drawable folder, I want to say. Actually, I don't want to move that. Hopefully, I didn't just mess it up. There's our drawable folder. We've got animation.xml and our 7 face images of the actor. Our layout, and our values. There we go. I think we better go ahead and display those. I'm actually going to save this. Yep, so here we got an animation. What this is going to do, it's going to display all the images, so face 1 through face 7, and it's going to display each one for 2 seconds as required there by the book, if I remember right. Yep, so that's 2,000 milliseconds. That is... got that. So then right here we got main activity.java. Up here we have a animation.drawable or animation drawable object here called actor animation. And this part, the illustration in the book actually didn't have a action bar, so I went ahead and disabled that. Now we're going to reference the image view control, and then here we're going to set the background resource for the image view to the animation list in animation.xml, so that way it can display images for that image view's background. Right now, then we've got the this line. We set actor animation here equal to the background of the image view control, and we cast that as a animation drawable object. So now we're going to reference the button control there, so the start button for the animation, and then we're going to add an on-click listener to the start button, so when the user touches the start button, it will start the actor animation, or it will run this animation.xml file here. So let's go ahead and give that a whirl here, see what my emulators here is doing. It's a golf application. I'll go ahead and close that actually. There we go. So we got this guy's picture, and the opening screen displays the happy facial expression of the actor here, and if we click the see the actor button, it'll cycle through his different facial expressions. There we go. So then that's all 7 facial expressions. And then, of course, this Android, forgot to mention that, but Android one-shot is set to true. So that will only run one time, and the animation will stop here. Alrighty, so that has this application down. Now let's go take a look at the golf application. So just I gotta think about the best way to approach this. I think it's already in the right order for that. Just a good approach for walking through the code. So this is the strings.xml file. We have the app name that we want to display in the action bar, so golf stroke. Then we have, this is the description text for the image view control, both image view controls and both activities. Then we've got the perfect golf swing button and the rotate your swing button right there. So now activity main.xml is made up of an image view, and then beneath it are two buttons here. So we've actually got our button for a perfect swing and button for rotate your swing, and they're stacked on top of each other. So image view is on the top, and then the button displays beneath this image view, and this button displays beneath this button, like that. And this is also a relative layout, and they have some different properties here that make them look nice. Oh, also two very important properties. It said to make these display each image, what was it, 700 by 1000? So assuming that's in pixels, so each of them is displayed 700 pixels by 1000 pixels. I think I tried using DP. I'm just going to check that real quick. I believe I tried using DP and then it just didn't work out because it got just huge and wouldn't display in the screen. So even though Android Studio cautions against using pixels, that's the only thing that would work for those given measurements there. Yeah, so then it'll actually fit within the page or within the screen. So that has that one. Now this is the activity for activity tween there. So this is for the tween animation. This also has the same 700 by 1000 animation, or 700 by 1000 dimensions for the image, and some other properties here, but it's the only control in that activity. It's just one image view control. And then we have our animation. What this is going to do, I had a little bit of trouble making sense of the problem description because there wasn't really any mention of the perfect swing button. It just said the rotate your swing button twice, and it didn't really make sense the way it was saying that, because it says like each image should only be displayed once when the user taps the rotate your swing button, but rotate your swing's supposed to start into it's also supposed to go into the tween animation. And I actually tried doing that at one point, but what happens is like I would have to have some kind of delay, like it would have to know when the animation's done before it started the tween animation, because it start both of them, but it'll skip the frame animation and switch straight to the tween animation. Yeah, so just to make a lot of sense there, so I'm assuming that there was maybe a typo or something, that it's for the algorithms .1 that they meant to say perfect golf swing button. So that's how I just programmed it and built it there. So that's how it works. I'm still not 100% sure if that's right, but that was I guess that was the only way I could make sense of that one. So what it does for the perfect swing animation, it's going to display the 6 images, and each showing it's going to show the different positions of the golf swing. So it says to have a frame animation with a 0.5 seconds between each image, so that's 500 milliseconds, and I've got that set for the durations here for these images. And then it says each image should only be displayed once. Now, so that would mean like that one shot equals true, but in order to get the animation to look nice, I actually display the first image at the end as well. That way it goes back to that. And that way it'll go back to it. And look nice, and there's 500. Yeah, I already covered that, I think. But there's 500 milliseconds duration for each. Let's see. So then we got a rotation. Now I kept the pivot X and Y values. That way it would just spin around instead of going crazy and spin around the origin. But it says 0 to 270. So I went ahead and put that in. So 0 degrees to 270 degrees. And it says to repeat that 9 times. So I've entered that as well. Just a lot of specifications for these programs here. So making sure I hit all of them there. And it says for each time it does that, it wants an interval of 3 seconds, so that's 3,000 milliseconds. And that should have that. So then here's our main activity, pretty much the same code. Right here I'll just call this perfect animation. So it's an animation drawable object, and we're going to use that to reference the background of the image view. But then here we're going to reference the image view control, and we do want to display the action bar on this one because that's how it's displayed in the illustration. So we'll reference the image view control of the image view control on the. This is all for the activity main XML. So we'll reference our image view control, and then we will set the background resource of the image view control to our animation.xml file. And it's actually the animation list within the animation.xml file. And then here we're going to set perfect animation equal to the background of the image view control casted as a animation drawable object. Right here we're going to reference our 2 buttons, so button perfect and button rotate. Now we're going to add a on-click listener to button perfect, and this is for our frame animation. So we're going to start our perfect animation here. This is animation.xml, and that will run whenever the user taps this button, and that's only going to run 1 time. And then if the user touches this button here, the button rotate, it's going to start a new activity here, and it's going to be this tween activity. One thing I forgot to mention, the book also mentioned it says to rotate the 5th image around 270 degrees 9 times. So it actually, I set the source there to the 5th image in the layout, so the animation doesn't actually affect that. So then we'll go over here though to the tween class, and all it does here, it's going to reference our image view control, image rotate there on the activity tween XML layout. Right here says image tween. It's going to reference that, and then it's going to start an animation there on that one, on that image view. And we're going to use the rotation animation that we created there. So let's go ahead and start this application. I believe that's everything in it. Yep, that should be good. Oh, emulator's hiding down here. So we can say perfect golf swing, and this will cycle through golf 1 through 6, back to 1. With a duration of 0.5 seconds between each. And then if we say rotate your swing, this is going to start a new activity, and it's going to rotate this image between 1 through 6, or 1 through 6, not switching between images. It's going to rotate it from 0 to 270 degrees 9 times, and each rotation has a duration of 3 seconds, or 3,000 milliseconds. And as you can see too, we've got the action bar text is set to golf stroke there, so that should have it. Alrighty, there we go, and that wraps up our Chapter 10 projects. Oh, there's a pause.